Hey guys, Mondo here. Thank you for tuning in. I just wanted to share a few things that I've kind of been thinking about that might be beneficial to your game in the finals. And please let me know in the comments if any of these actually make a difference for you. I'm very curious to know. Now, believe it or not, a lot of your game is actually affected by how you're feeling, whether that's physically, emotionally. One of the biggest things that I've noticed that's been a game changer is just making sure that my hands were always warmed up. Have you ever, been outside in cold weather and then tried to send a text message or, just try to do anything with your hands? They feel like they're working in slow motion. And sometimes we have colder hands, and they'll kind of act the same way, where we're maybe not hitting the right keys as fast as we should, or just things aren't working functionally as well as they should. One thing that I would recommend doing is, if your hands are cold, just wash your hands, run them under some warm water just to get the blood flowing at least a little better. Most of the time, your console, computer, you're usually pretty close to it. It's generating heat. I would even recommend as to just place your hands, your cold hands, over your exhaust where the heat's coming out of your computer, Xbox, console, whatever. The biggest goal is we're just trying to warm up your faculties, because if your hands are warm and can perform, that's a major step. So keep those little piggies warm. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is more related to a mouse. I know many of us play the finals as well as other first-person shooters. And usually, the sensitivity, your mouse sensitivity, controller joystick sensitivity, all of that will vary between game to game. I want you to strive to maintain a similar sensitivity between all games that you play, at least of the same genre, so that, if you're playing one game, let's say exclusively for a couple days, and then you come back to playing the finals, that it doesn't feel like a completely different game. At least in terms of like your aim is off, you can't hit the shots that you used to. Now, as well as, making sure that your joystick sensitivity or your mouse sensitivity is the same, I want you to also think about, the keybinds or buttons that you press for specific actions of the other games that you play, as well as trying to make those as similar as possible, and whatever works for you. Some people develop a sort of habit depending on the game. But if you make those consistent between other games, unless you're only playing one game, it'll just help you, as you kind of switch between both games. It'll make a huge difference in the long run, I know. So now that we've talked about a couple kind of external factors, I want to go ahead and talk about some in-game stuff. So the first thing I want to talk about is using utility defensively. I mean, the gas grenade, the pyro grenade, these are lovely utilities. They do a pretty good amount of damage, and the wonderful thing is they last for 12 seconds. If you carry both of these, it's unlikely that an enemy has counters to both of these utilities. Not to mention, the finals is a complete game of time. Cash outs take 120 seconds. If you die, then sometimes the timer is substantial. So if you are alive and you can find ways to buy time that your teammates can come back, not to mention that cash outs take several seconds to steal, if you're able to extend that period by 10, 12 seconds, or even if you're using different types of utility and you can extend it by even 20 seconds, your team will have had plenty of time to respond, given that they had a coin, or you're given enough time to, distract so you can go for a revive. You're buying time, and if you can use your utilities to buy time, it will lead you to more successful cash outs and more victories. Now let's talk about you John Wicks out there. Kill chasing, staggering deaths. I'm going to insert a couple clips kind of as we talk about this.
Mondo.
Sorry, I'm coming back. I'm coming back. I'm sorry.
He's above you, Gio, kind of? Where was Mondo? Thank you, sir.
Where was I, you ask? I was 100 meters away shooting another team.
Why?
because I could. Was ego challenging this dude.
Stop it. Get some help.
But kill chasing is a good way to put your team in a really unfortunate situation. Now, I understand that, kills are worth money, and the whole purpose of the game is to have the most money so you can qualify for the next round. At least in World Tour, it doesn't matter if your team gets wiped, but if you are off somewhere else while your team is trying to pursue a cash out, your team is going to be down a man, and you are going to be either unsuccessful in your 1v1s, 1v3s, because a lot of people that you're going to be kill chasing after probably have a teammate that's just right around the corner. It seems to always work out that way. But your team that's trying to steal a cash out or defend a cash out, they're going to be down a person, and it's going to be really impossible to revive you because your trophy is going to be 100 meters out, 150 meters out. Not to mention, sometimes you may not even have a coin, and it'll be forced to either team wipe or revive you. Now, a little bit about staggering deaths. What's really lovely is there's a UI in the bottom left corner that shows you how much time is left on the respawn timers of your teammates, how many coins they have left. I swear if you're not looking at this, I'm going to beat some sense into you verbally. You need to be paying attention to this. There are plenty of times when a team is fighting for a cash out, defending a cash out, whatever, and maybe there's only one person left on the team. Now, let's say there's 60 seconds left in the cash out. You could either try to stay alive and wait for teammates to revive and then come to the assist. They may be, respawning 100 meters out, maybe even more. I've had the lovely privilege of respawning, I believe, over 150 meters when trying to defend a cash out before. It's not a very fun situation to be in, but you're way far away. Now, let's say by the time the teammate gets to the cash out, there are probably, at this point, maybe 30 seconds left on the cash out, maybe 20. Who's to say that you actually survived in your defense or offense while that teammate was waiting to revive and then run clear all the way over to the cash out? If you were the only person left, pay serious attention to the scenario. If you're the only person left and there's plenty of time left, especially if you're playing in World Tour, then it would 100% make sense to go for a team wipe. Just go balls to the wall and either try to, wipe the enemy team and get the steal, or get wiped quick so that your team can come back as a full team. It sets everybody's respawn timer to the same, and then you come back together and you can attack as a unified front. And that will lead to what be way more successful than sending one person at a time to set up to try to attack on a well-equipped, defense or offense 3-stack that you're trying to break. It's not gonna go well. I can guarantee you that. Now, the last few are just a few tips that might help improve your game overall. There are a lot of guns, a lot of utilities. In terms of guns, I know some guns, they just may not feel like, they're hitting today. Now, I want you to use a couple guns, like 2 guns, 3 guns max, and just feel free to rotate through those guns as you please. But I guarantee that if you find a combination of like an assault rifle, like for example, I play medium and I use the AKM, I use the FAMAS, and I use the Pike. Those 3 guns can pretty much provide a reasonable weapon for any scenario that I might encounter. And the lovely thing about World Tour is you can also swap guns mid-round, just in between deaths, so it makes it really easy to find the right gun for the right scenario. But, if you get better versed with 3 weapons, then you'll know what's the best gun for the scenario that you're in. Now, for trying to get better at gunplay, the game itself, I might encourage you to find a higher ranked friend. If you spend enough time at a higher rank, you're going to eventually adapt. It may be rough in the beginning, but you'll understand the play styles, sort of the metas that these higher ranked players are doing. I feel like if you spend enough time, as long as you've got a good grip on the game, then maybe spending some time in a higher ranked lobby or with higher ranked friends that you're able to learn tips and tricks from and just kind of watch how they play, it will be very beneficial to your game in the long run. There's 2 more things that I want to cover. These ones are going to be pretty simple. First, if you have the opportunity to, whether it's game clips, OBS, any sort of recording software, record your gameplay and watch it back. Sometimes it takes a second view or rewatching things to understand maybe where mistakes were made, or maybe how you executed extremely well a defense or an offense. Reanalyzing your plays is another way to get better, because it kind of helps you evolve habits of, what you're going to do next time you're in this scenario. After enough practice, you're able to execute properly, and it just comes with time. But if you watch your replays and see what you've done before, and you acknowledge those moments and you try to improve, I guarantee you'll get better. And lastly, I want you to be comfortable with the fact of playing with randoms and not be upset about it when things don't go exactly as planned. Playing with randoms only will get you better. I know some people who don't play unless they have teammates or friends that they know, but I promise you that some of the learning moments that I've had have come in just games with randoms. And please use your mic. So many people have headsets nowadays. I have had a headset since I had a PlayStation 3, and I had a little Bluetooth earpiece that all I could hear was voice chat in my ear, but all my game sound came through the TV. But it is literally 2025, and I know all of you have at least a $20 headset, and all of these $20, $30 headsets have a microphone. Don't be shy. Please use it. And if you can't use your microphone for whatever reason, I know life happens, sometimes you got to be quiet. Use the ping system, use the chat system, communicate with your team, ping what you're going to do. If you actually show intent as to what you do, if you ping something, most of the time your teammate will follow. But if you just go off by yourself or you try to do your own thing, it's not going to work out. I guarantee that you can have some really good luck with randoms if you just communicate a little more than maybe what you do. I wanted to say in closing, thank you all so much for watching this video. I really hope that, if you're watching this, that there's maybe something that you can incorporate into your gameplay and help just evolve you and just take you to the next level. If there is something that you take from this video and it actually helps elevate your game, please leave a comment. I would love to know what's helping other people. And who knows, maybe I make another one of these videos in the future with some different tips and tricks. And if you enjoyed the video and would like to stay up to date on all my content, please drop a like and a sub. I would love so much to see you guys again. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day. See ya.